quorum. Ms. Fireside, would you, Ms. Scott, would you please call the roll?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, gotcha. I'll fix it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Excuse me.
Town of Ashland, Dr. McGraw.
Here.
Charles City County, Mr. Atkins.
Present.
Chesterfield County, Mr. Engel.
Here.
Goochland County, Mr. Spoonhour. Hanover County, Vice Chair Davis.
Present.
Henrico County, Reverend Nelson. New Kent County, Ms. Stewart.
Here.
Powhatan County, Mr. McClung.
Here.
And City of Richmond, Dr. Newbill.
Here.
Thank you. You do have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. McGraw has requested remote participation. We can hear Dr. McGraw, we can see Dr. McGraw. And I move that the executive committee confirm the chair's decision to approve the request for participation from a remote location, and that request is in conformance with the PlanRVA Commission policy for remote participation for members. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Any amendments to the agenda? Motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Public comment. Public comment is a time where anyone who wishes to address the executive committee on any matter within the executive committee's authority is welcome to come forward. If you would like to speak, we just ask that you identify yourself by name or the entity that you represent. Is there anyone who wishes to address the executive committee on any matter within the executive committee's authority? Seeing no one present, seeing no one on video for remote, we will close public comment time. Have all board members had an opportunity to review the February 8th, 2023 meeting minutes? Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections? Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes for February 28th?
So moved.
We have a motion by Dr. Newbill. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. Mr. Byron, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is our meeting schedule. We had talked about a couple of different things because of, I don't want to say conflicts, but additional events that are going on within the region. A couple of those have popped up, and I believe everybody's very aware of those. So is there any discussion about canceling the May 9th and the June 13th executive committee meetings? And we may have to call for a special executive committee session in May, but right now that's not on the schedule. Is there any discussion around that proposal? All right, is there a motion to cancel the May 9th and June 13th, 2024 executive committee meetings?
So move, Byron Atkins.
Byron Atkins moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Thank you, Mr. McClung. Any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So, next item on the agenda, and I'm well aware that it is April 11th, is to go ahead and codify the officers for FY 2024 for the last 13 minutes of FY 2024. As y'all know, we had a vacation of the chair, and then we had the untimely and unfortunate passing of a board member, a commission member, Ms. Page. So today, we're gonna get that cleaned up. The proposal last year, of course, we have some new folks that have come onto the commission, was codify Davis as chair, Dr. McGraw as vice chair, Ms. Stewart as treasurer, and then Secretary Mr. Atkins. And then after June 1st, and we'll have a discussion on that as well, I'm actually gonna combine F and G on the agenda, is to then have elections for the FY 2025 officers, which would be Chair McGraw, Vice Chair Stewart, Treasurer Atkins, and Secretary Newbill. So it's hard to, you coming back in, I mean, I just remember when you were the chair.
Yes.
And it seemed like it was a year ago. Wow, how time flies.
Yes.
So with that, we have a proposed motion. Is there any discussion on a proposed motion for the FY 2024? We cannot got legal advice this morning, we cannot do the FY 2025 elections today, but we can codify, I don't want to say the cleanup, but that's essentially what it was. It was a contingency plan for FY 2024. Again, Chair Davis, Vice Chair McGraw, Stewart, Treasurer, Atkins, Secretary. Any discussion on that? Okay, I am gonna appoint Mr. Engel, Mr. McClellan, and, let me see, who's there? Well, everybody else is on there. And Dr. Newbill is a nominating committee. And I will ask Mr. Atkins to chair the nominating committee. And if that, would y'all like to discuss amongst yourselves? Does that work amongst y'all, sorry?
Works for me. I think fine.
All right, Mr. Engel, chairman? Very well. You can read that at the commission meeting, if you so choose. All right. So that's done, yes.
I'm just conferring with council to make sure we understand what you're doing.
2024, remainder of 2024,
It'll be for,
Leadership.
right, that's what
and
it
that's
is.
it, because he said we can't.
We can't do 2025 until after June 1st.
Right.
We're good. All right,
All right.
perfect. So I think I've taken care of F and G. And then, can't believe you're seeking legal advice when I'm over here. It was my expert legal
It
opinion.
wasn't advice,
It
it was
was
just
expert legal opinion.
making
I
sure
handle
you knew what
everything.
you were doing.
Would you, can you confirm that what I did was?
She was confused,
superbly-
she was trying to get
I mean, of a legal
clarification.
scholar, that was good, wasn't it?
It was excellent.
Yeah, thank you. Says our attorney. Thank you all. So we've gotten through a lot of the administrative stuff. The next item on the agenda is financial updates. So Director Schickel, and I thought I saw Mr. Van Dornick here for, if you're a baseball guy, you're on deck just in case you have backup, Reserve Corps. So thank you for being here. We did have a really good financial finance committee meeting. And Chair Holland is here as well. I just want to recognize him if anybody has any questions. But that was, I believe, 2 weeks ago. Was that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. So a lot of good discussions there. So with that, I'll turn it over to Ms. Schickel for item number 2.
The full presentation will be included in the full commission meeting today, so I don't wanna do double presentation, but as Mr. Davis noted, Mr. Van Dornick and Mr. Holland are here today. Starting on page 7 of your packet, the pack that folds out, you'll see the summary document for the proposed amendments to the FY 2024 budget. Just to orient you, across the top are the lines of business that the agency has. The fourth column from the right is the proposed 2024 budget that is subject to your consideration today. It compares to the column just to the right of that, the third column from the right. So if you look to the bottom line, it's a very modest difference in the anticipated net income, revenue over expenses for the fiscal year. The differences lie in the recalibration of anticipated revenues. As you can see on the summary sheet, looking back at the top of the page, the total income line in that first block is a reduction of about $60,000, $58,490. Our expenses have been adjusted to reflect a modification of a reduction of $25,000. And then the indirect cost pool is the majority of where you're seeing the change in the remaining change in the expenses of a reduction of $84,000. So that brings the total reduction of expenses down to $63,000. As you all know, we experienced a combination of staffing vacancies earlier this year, which led to a lag in the revenue that we were able to draw on reimbursement for those vacant positions. And so at the February commission meeting, there was action taken to be able to make a shift in our staff composition to add 2 more planners to the staff role. We were able to fulfill those 2 vacancies that were approved in March. Both of those staff members were introduced to the TPO last week, and those team members are on full deck for the remainder of the fiscal year. So the reduction in projected revenues for the year are reflective of the full staff composition that we've been able to achieve for this fiscal year. and a reallocation of hours into our grant-funded programs and out of areas that we had anticipated having funding but weren't able to achieve for this fiscal year. So I'm happy to go through in detail any questions you have. The detailed sheets of the budget are on pages 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. And then there's an even further detailed set of sheets starting on page 14. So we wanted to be able to make sure that we were giving lots of looks at the detail that sits behind. But essentially, again, in order to be able to achieve that basically break-even amount, that $5,000 or so of net income for the fiscal year, we filled those 2 positions that were approved in February. We made staffing assignment changes to be able to put time of staff that are on our existing personnel role into our grant-funded programs to be able to move that work forward. And we've put pause on the things that were not, that did not have remaining revenue to support that work in this fiscal year. And then we did cut down on a number of anticipated expenses for the remainder of the fiscal year to make sure that we were still gonna stay at that break-even projection for June 30th. Mr. Holland or Mr. Van Dornick, do either of you have anything you want to add? I know we're gonna go into the full presentation in the full commission meeting.
I have nothing to add.
No.
I will just note, the financial statements are being reviewed on a monthly basis by the Finance Committee, and Mr. Van Dornick and Mr. Holland did meet earlier this week to review the March financial statements. The last statements you saw were as of January 31, I believe, and we were operating at a $90-ish thousand net deficit for the year. The March 31 statements bring that to about half. We're at about a 40, Dan, is it 48,000 net loss for the year?
48,000 at March 31st.
At March 31st. So we've gained some ground in this first quarter and anticipate continuing to gain that ground to achieve the projected budget here for the remainder of the fiscal year.
Where are we at on staff to be able to go back and work on the things that we pulled people off of that are sitting on the sidelines right now?
We are in fund development mode right now, so lots of grant applications are due. April is proven to be a pretty big month for that, so there were 2 large applications that went in April 1st. We have a couple other applications that are going in at the end of the month, and we'll continue throughout the summer to submit those applications. So our goal is to be able to reinstate funding in the new fiscal year to be able to pick that work back up again, but it will be contingent on achieving those grant awards.
Anything else?
So this is just an information item for the executive committee this morning. It'll be an action item for the full commission at 9:30.
All right. Hearing nothing, we'll move to item number 3, which is a request for closed session. I move that the executive committee enter into closed session under FOIA section 2.23711A1 to discuss personnel matters concerning commission employees. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And I'm authorized to have whom the executive committee wants in. Yes, sir. Okay.